Hey, so welcome back to the Cruxman. Man, this is episode 14. I am your one of the hosts, right? I'm Salt. Got Papa over here.
Yeah.
In his
What's happening?
trademark houndstooth.
Damn
with
right.
the history of Alabama history, I believe.
Roll fucking tide.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh man. So you know what? Today's it was a sad day.
Uh-oh.
And this happened just like a few minutes ago. Semi-sad, bittersweet, if you will. I just sold my car, my old car. So
it's
gone.
Sold it without talking to me about it?
It's gone.
We had plans. We had plans.
Yeah, well, I mean, your plans were taking up space in the garage, so they had to go on. My bike needs to be back where it needs to be, and it is now properly situated right in the middle of all that space. It's awesome.
All right, for those of you who don't know this car, this fucking
it was a great car.
It was an great car. Incredible hoopty, okay? It was a new.
It was not an incredible hoopty. Absolutely. Listen, that car was a beast. A beast. I'm gonna tell you like this: Honda, bravo. You made a outstanding piece of machinery that had taken care of me for well over a decade. 200, damn near almost 240,000 miles on it. My beloved Honda Civic, man, it's gone through all the waves of $6 gas out here in Cali. When everyone else is dropping well over 100, having to do two transactions to fill up their tanks, I was just doing one, spending at max $60 at max. It was a beautiful thing, but it had to come to an end. It literally. Like, I'm talking wheels I felt like they were falling off. And it's time for change. It was time for a change. It was time to let it go. Because for me, I would have kept it till 500,000. I think it would have kept running too to 500,000.
So tell the people what kind of sweet deal did the person buying it get it for?
Man, I gave it. He was so I knew this was going to be. I knew this is a bit of a stretch. I was like, I'll take 1,000 for it. Yeah, sure. The guy was like, it's got a lot of miles. He's like, it's not like it's, it's kind of old. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah. He's like, how about 500? It's like, deal. I wasn't even tripping. You know what I mean?
Just take this shit out of here.
I was like, just take it, man. Like, honestly, like at this point, anything I get for it, it's just going to go toward this trip at the end of the year. So I'm putting all this extra cash toward this trip that's going to burn a serious hole in my pocket. So
I feel like now my wife probably would not agree, but if given the option, I would have given you $500 just so I could have lit that thing on fire and rolled it down the fucking hill like I had planned.
That thing
for
was
10 years. 10
that car
years.
Was such a champion. I'm trying to tell you, man. Like, listen, and the thing is, granted, like I that was the first car that I feel like I took a L on. I'm usually like, I like to drive nice vehicles. That's like something I always made like a point to do. But when I got out here and I saw that gas, and I remember when I first started creeping into like the borderline fives, like it was like the high fours. I was like, what the hell is going on? So like the truck I had before, like I was like, yo, like I'm paying a car note for fuel. You know what I mean? Paid off, but I'm paying a car note for fuel. So it's like, I can't do this. So yeah, I got rid of it. Oh, that's that joint you were talking about before. Yeah, let me know how that goes. So this, you know what? A very beautiful person. A beautiful person.
Thank you.
Bought me. Well, this isn't you. Another beautiful person. Went all the way to the glorious Japan and brought me back a bag full of Chuhai. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I've been sipping on these bad boys for the last couple of days, and I got to tell you, it's just instant memories of. I mean, granted, I guess what's the statute of limitations? 10 years, something like that, right? It's been 10 years. So in Japan, sipping and riding, sipping, enjoying these Chuhais. Oh my God! And then with Chuhai and then Haichu, that was like my pairing in Japan of just nonstop. You want to talk about one of the best things on the planet is to just sit there, and I had like a grape strawberry Chuhai, or you get that lemon strong. wrap.
So what is in those? What's the alcohol?
So this one's a 5%. I got a 9% in there as well.
Well, I mean, like, what's it? Is it like a rice alcohol or?
Don't give me the line. It's like a like those daiquiris.
Okay.
You know, like if you get like a Boone's Farm or something like that, the strawberry, whatever. It's like that, but like Japanese style, way better.
So,
like
it's probably a rice alcohol, but anyway,
I'm assuming on some level. Yeah, I'm sure. I never really asked for the ingredients.
Here's to the super hoopty.
Oh man, R.I.P. man, R.I.P. R.I.P. I'm trying to say, I have no idea what this guy's gonna. I told him like, like the brakes are kind of. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I was like, okay. So he took it, and you know what? If he can flip it, make a profit of it, bravo. More power to you.
The radio in that thing was worth more than you sold it for.
You would be correct. You would be correct, but even that was like semi failing me. So I don't know. I was done. Now I got a different car and I am content. I got a nice sunroof, all that good stuff. So it's nice to drive in something a little more.
Got your initials on the car.
It's indeed. It has my initials on it. So yeah, man. And like, and from that one, it's already paid off. So it's not like I'm over here carrying some car note shit.
There you go.
So it's beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, it's just hard. I have like this, I get attached to my stuff. You know what I mean? Like when it starts to fail on me, I'm like, damn, man, like I gotta go buy like another one. Like, we had a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like I press play or I turn you on or I turn that key, you fired up for me. Like that car still like a champ. Boom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If it ain't broke, I don't fix it. I don't change it. I just keep riding it till the wheels fall off. I'm not really concerned about styling. I haven't skipped a beat.
Now, as I do, not everybody obviously has the same sentiment that you do. And so as we begin to progress towards today's topic, I'll ask this. Have you, and I'm sure I know the answer because you're fucking black and beautiful, but has it ever cost you a date pulling up in an old whip?
You know what? Honestly, I want to say no. And I would say mainly because initially when you meet someone, you're not looking at their car. Right. So if I've already kind of, if we're jamming, if we're talking, we're relating, we're doing all the things and it's working, then great. It's not like, I make money. I do all, I just don't put it into, I didn't put it into a vehicle. I put it into travel. I put it into everything else. So, and it was kind of like, it's kind of like and maybe it did. You know what I mean? I know like, this is one girl. I remember she was like, we drove out to the parking lot and she's like, where are you? I was like, oh, that's me over there. And she's like, oh, wait, the Honda? I was like, yeah.
Sounds like country song already.
And she's like, oh, that's nice. Or like, and the thing is, it's crazy because like, some women they'll ask like, so what do you got? And I was like, oh, I got a Honda, whatever. Or like I would even come pick them up in that like day one. And they'll be like, "Oh, this is your car, huh? This is nice." They're like being like super polite, and I get it,
What they don't know is it's a '87 hatchback,
man. And the thing is, what the thing about it, though, I'm gonna say like this: it hurt my soul every time picking a woman up in that car because I was just like, "Yo, like this." It goes so counterintuitive to like how I am, But I was like, you know what? It was kind of like when I bought it initially. I remember thinking, I was like, I'm doing this. I'm playing it like the Coming to America type of way. You know what I'm saying? He's Prince Akeem, but he's like in very humble living conditions. He didn't want any of his money to persuade any woman that he met. He just wanted her to just wanted to meet her, and he wanted her just like a legit chick. And so yeah, he lived in like the projects. He had no car. He worked at McDowell's. You know what I'm saying? He's over there mopping floors, but he's a prince, but she didn't know. So like that was like my thought process when I bought the car. I was like, okay, getting rid of all the fancy stuff. I even downplayed granted, I dress how I dress, but no jewelry, nothing extra. Everything's like super basic, super chill. So then for me, like the fact that I was still getting play regardless, it didn't matter. I was like, well, shit, like how much does it matter? Like, granted, like for me, yeah, driving the car, like, yeah, like I pull up and like, oh, the Honda became like this signature thing now. It's like, oh yeah, Salt drives a Honda. I don't know why he drives a Honda, but he drives a Honda, you know? But like shit, like I'm dating a doctor now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not like, I haven't skipped a beat. Nothing stopped, you know? So I say this. Now, granted, people feel some kind of a way in terms of how I look. You mean, and you know, like I'm sure that does play a factor, you know, on some, on many levels, you know. I don't have that working for me. However, I don't think that the material stuff.
Wow.
If you want, like, I think if you have,
wow. Someone's full of themselves. I think.
No, what I'm saying is that, you know, I think if you a girl who wants to be with you is going to be with you, regardless of what you drive, because of the fact that you can always. My thing was always this, right? If a girl's worried about what I drive, it ain't like I can't go out tomorrow and go get another car. I can go get another car tomorrow. I choose to drive this car. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, okay, so if I go out, say today you don't want me, but then tomorrow I go out and I go buy a Benz. Like now I got the Caddy, right? So like I go buy a Benz. Now suddenly you like me? I'm looking at you now like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, why now suddenly like, oh my God, like, yeah, let's go out. I don't want you now. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like with these, some of these dudes, like, you know, some of these rich folks are like, they don't know who they could trust because they got dough. They're successful. So of course everybody's going to be on their dick. I mean, of course everybody wants the hot chick or when someone's riding high, you know what I'm saying? But when you're at your low point in life, who wants to fuck with you then? Then you start finding out who your true friends are, who your people are. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that we became friends when I had a Honda. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I no one's everyone that I, for the most part, associate with now has only seen me driving that car for the last, like I said, good decade or so.
You know what, man? And I still have the same F-150 that I was driving when we met too. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? No,
like
we hold on to the I'll tell you what, man. I fired her up earlier. She fired right up. You know, I got no problems with this truck.
Yeah,
it's old, but it's good. You know, I mean,
it does the job.
I have some other vehicles too that are, you know, slightly more expensive, but I'm also married, so I ain't out here trying to impress nobody, you know?
Yeah, man. It's like shit. I got the motorcycle, I got the car, I got a place to stay. Like for me, I like to keep things simple, man. I don't try to do extra. The only thing I kind of go hard in is I like to travel. I like to hit the road. I like to have a good time. When I go out, I like to go out. I don't want to shortchange myself. Like, oh, well, I can't do this. I mean, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. You know what I'm saying? I remember I read, this was years ago, and this was kind of like made me like really think differently. It made me shift the way I thought. And I feel like, you know, maybe I need to grow up a little bit. It was just that this, I read this article. I was at work. I was on my lunch break and I read this article. This guy, you know, cause I wanted to travel. I wasn't traveling at the time, you know, and he's just like, you know what? There's people that go and they spend all their money on materialistic stuff. Right. But then when you sit down with some of these individuals, they're not interesting at all. They just have a bunch of stuff. They haven't been anywhere. They haven't done anything. They have no stories. But then say you flip that, get rid of like the materialistic stuff, right? You live in an expensive city, keep it simple. Now go have experiences, go travel the world, go do these different things. Now you have conversation. Conversation is very attractive. And that's what people, they want. It makes you more interesting. It makes you more worldly. All these perks to doing that as opposed to putting all your money into basically a money pit at the end of the day, right? Trying to keep up with the Joneses, all that good stuff. Right. So like for me, that plays more to my personality where I'm not really out there for the attention anyway. It's really not like my thing, you know? Granted, like I might still get attention regardless of the fact, but you know, I don't know. It's just not, this is not a thing for me. It wasn't, but
so
anyway.
I think for me, I am obviously at a little bit different stage in life now. You know, but I've traveled the world, right? I mean, I've been all over the place. Mm-hmm. I still travel all the time. It's part of what I do, and I love the experiences, and you know me, I love storytelling. God, man, we need to start telling more stories on the podcast here. But I also am at that point where it's like, it's not keeping up with the Joneses. It's more about comfort. So last weekend, you came up and stayed with me in Vegas. Got cat's out of the bag. I live in Vegas.
So I'm pretty sure you told them that before. But yeah,
probably. Now it's solid. I live in Las Vegas. And I bought this house last year, and it was probably the worst financial decision I've ever made because I mean, like, the market was high. I still got a pretty decent APR, but anyway, but I want the house to be comfortable for me when I come home from being on the road now too, right? So I go and I travel and stuff like that, but I do it for work most of the time. So I go to really fun places, you know. I mean, since we've been doing the show, I've been all over the continental U.S., you know, from California to Myrtle Beach, Florida, Denver, D.C., you know, I was just in San Antonio, Southern California, like Washington. I'm all over the place just this year. And but when I come home, like, I want my house to be comfortable, you know. So some people might think like, oh, I want my house to be nice and I got to have, you know, Louis Vuitton carpets. No. I'm not going to waste my money, but I do want my house to be comfortable for me. So I've got this whole, and I mean, it's behind the camera. So, you know, if you're watching, you can't see, but behind me, there's a big fire pit with a nice, you know, waterfall feature thing. And then I got a big outdoor grill and bar and, you know, tables and chairs and like that. That's like my area though, you know, during the winter, during the summer, it doesn't matter. I can come over here by the fire if it's too cold. I can go over by the bar, you know, if it's warm because it's shaded over there. So, but I want those areas to be nice because this is my home and that's what makes me comfortable, you know. But what's in my driveway right now, I will be honest with you, I don't really care. You know, I got a really nice truck and then I have my old truck and then I have my Harley. And that the really nice truck holds all the toys. So yeah, I got a couple toys as well. But
I mean, I think that's, to me, like, that's what it is, right? For me, like, the vehicle to me is a point A to point B. Just get me where I gotta be so I can go do what I want to do. When I come home though, absolutely. Like, for me, like, I sit on my couch and it's still, I melt in it and I usually pass out trying to watch a movie or something like that. My TV fires up. It's lovely HD. You know, I got my Bose system set up. Like, for me, like, the things that are important to me, like, that's it. My entertainment needs to be some kind of a way. My sound needs to be some kind of a way. I got Bose speakers all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need my music nonstop every day. I need hot water. I need food on demand. If I want sushi, I'm getting sushi. If I want, you know, Brazilian food, I'm getting Brazilian food. You know what I mean? Like, I could do what I want, when I want, and it's comfortable and it's nice. And when I come home, I can just relax. There's nothing that's pending. There's nothing that like, tomorrow I'm going to get on the bike. I'm going to go ride. I'm going to probably have to spend like a day just on the bike, doing what I do and hanging out. So I don't know, like, life is what you make it. It doesn't, if you tie it up in a bunch of shit, or you're strapped for now for cash and all this other stuff, and you don't have any discretionary money, then cut the fuck back. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of all the nice or the super nice shit. If you can't afford it, then don't fucking get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if it brings you joy, then fine, by all means, do your thing. But I mean, I don't know. To me, I think I take experiences over toys, you know? And luckily, like, I could do both. Like, I you know, it's just, there's not a lot of shit that I want.
I don't know
there's not a lot of stuff that I want though.
Well, you know? when you say toys though, like, I think of toys like I would say it depends on the toy because, like, we're both motorcycle riders, so I think our toys aid.
Is that a toy though? I mean, I guess it's a toy, but it's,
I think of it as a toy.
Without a motorcycle,
it aids like, our experiences though.
100%. But I look at, so now, granted, now this is me justifying my bullshit, right? When I don't have a motorcycle, I feel like I'm missing something. I'm like, for me, a motorcycle is like a cowboy without a horse. If I don't have my bike, I'm not right. I need to be out on two wheels, and I need to have that. I need to have that option to get on the bike and go ride, because that brings me extreme joy, though, right? Just like sitting on the couch and watching a nice TV and all that. I need to have that. It's something that just brings me joy.
So what do you consider toys?
So I mean, I guess to me, like, once again, like, it's I would say, I guess toys, it would be that. Like, I mean, toys are for what? They're for fun, right? But my thing is like, if you've got a whole bunch of shit that you never even touch or use, then okay, you got a bunch of toys. That's awesome. Right. Like my kid, she can have a whole bunch of shit, but she doesn't play with everything in the closet. Back when she was a baby, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is like, why would I buy a whole bunch of shit that's just gonna collect for what? To show it off to who? You know what I'm saying? To never use it. I don't have people over like, hey, well, you take this car, you take that bike, you do that. I don't have all that. For me, I use everything that I got. So for me, there's no waste. If I had like, just like, even like for me, I thought about buying my own parachute so I could just go skydiving and have my own shit. And then, you know, I was in the market for one, and then I ended up never even buying one, and I haven't been skydiving since. So my thing is just like, yeah, I could accumulate all this stuff. Like I have snorkeling gear, I have all this other stuff. I haven't snorkeled in 3+ years now. So it's like, you know, it's an accumulation of shit, and that's what drives me crazy. Is that right? So I guess that's more my thing. It's just that whatever tickles your fancy, by all means, do your thing. I'm not knocking nobody for doing their thing, but it's like if you never even touch it, so then it's like, you know, just rent it or something. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, make your own financial decisions. I don't really give a shit.
For me, I guess for me, a toy would be like if I went out and bought, and I'm not a gamer, but whatever the newest game console,
PS5 or some shit like that. Yeah,
sure. So let's say I go out and buy a PS5 because I went over to somebody's house and they had a PS5 and they had a Madden game, whatever, something like that, you know. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. So I go out and buy a PS5 just to play Madden twice, probably.
Exactly.
You know, before it starts accumulating dust, and you know, so that's a toy. It's something that it's something I didn't need. You know, like I've got a snowboard, but it has more than gotten its money's worth. You know what I mean? Like I go boarding every single year, at least once. I mean, I got to go at least once. I wish I went more often, and I used to. I mean, when I first got that board, I probably went 15, 20 times a year, all over the place, man. I went up to Alaska. I went to Montana, to Big Sky, which was incredible.
I want to go up there, actually.
Yeah, I've been boarding all over the place. But no, like as I'm getting older, you know, like that Harley that I bought, that was a must. That was something I saved up for, you know, for a long time. I wanted it. I wanted it bad. My wife knew it, but she also likes riding. So that was a toy that we could both enjoy.
100%.
You know,
as opposed to dividends.
As opposed to her toys, which only she can enjoy. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, or you could too.
I'm just kidding.
A place to insert. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like I said, it's just. I think when it comes to toys, you know, whatever. Like, if it feeds your soul, even for the gamers out there, if you like, for me, I have a PS4 that I've had now since it came out. No intention to get a PS5 because it still works. And I don't. The thing is, and I don't game enough though to go warrant me going to getting a PS5. The only time I really play video games is in the summertime. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Because I'm usually kind of chilling doing that. So anyway, like, yeah, toys, whatever you do, whatever. But like I said, for me, like where I put more value is in trips. I like to go places. I like to do things. I like road trips. So like, even for me, like with the car, a car to me is like a necessity. Just like the bike. I like to go and do. I love road trips. Love a good road trip. So it just kind of happens that way. But so yeah, anyway, like, you know, and that's kind of, I guess that kind of comes into like what, you know, something that, you know, I wanted to get into today was like in terms of like relationships, like what's important, what truly is important in a relationship. You know, is it like, you know, if you meet a girl, does she need to have a nice car? Does she need to have some, you know, 100+ K job? Like, you know, it was Kevin Samuels was talking to all these different women in terms of like what they were looking for in a man. You know what I'm saying? What is it that, you know, like for you, if let's just talk. Well, let's say you back in the day, what were like in the relationships you were in, what did you feel were like the top 5 to make the relationship work? What were the essentials?
Okay. I'll start by saying this. I think in some way, and this is not going to be a popular thing. I can already feel it in my soul. This is not going to be popular. But I think in some respects, you need to date in your weight class. Okay. You mentioned like, does she have to make, you know, 6 figures? Well, that depends. See, I'm a kind of an equal opportunist, you know, type of person. Not always going Dutch, but it's like, look, like, don't come into the relationship. Like, you could be a 10, you could be super hot. And in my mind, if you are broke, but you're super hot, but you're with me because I have nice things and I spend money, well, she's dating out of her weight class, because I could also go find someone who's successful, who can give, excuse me, who can give just as much to the relationship as they can take. So I think probably number one for me would be, don't be selfish in a relationship. And I do think that like-minded people can be in a similar weight class though too. So you can be broke dating a poor person, or vice versa. I'm sorry, be broke dating a rich person, whatever, whether the guy's broke, the girl's rich or whatever, if they think the same, right? Like maybe someone's had a harder go of it than, or didn't have the same opportunities or whatever. You can still be in the same weight class if you think the same, you know? So they're going to find ways to create a balance in a relationship. So
yeah,
number one for me would be honesty.
Okay.
Just straight up. Look, if you're broke, if you're a hoe, if you're just in it for the money, if you're just in it for a night, and I'm talking to everybody right now. I'm not talking me talking to chicks. I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, be honest with your intentions. You talked about back in the day. Back in the day, and it doesn't matter, you know, necessarily the amount of money I was making. I was doing fine for myself, but I was always honest. Like I was never the guy that was like, oh, I'm going to lie to take some chick home. I was like, hey, whatever it may be, cliche, I'm not looking for a relationship at the time. I was just enjoying my life. And honestly, I was too busy to try to do that in those moments, you know, like, yeah, well, you're awesome. And I would love to hang out with you more often. Let's do that. Maybe it becomes something down the road. But I'm going to tell you what, right now, I'm not actively looking to fall head over heels in love with somebody because I'm busy focusing on me and figuring out me, you know, and trying to get my mind right. So honesty, which leads to communication. Number two.
Yeah.
Don't bullshit around. Like, you know, and don't fucking throw hints. I think honesty and communication are probably the same thing. You know, I'm not a mind reader. Honesty and communication.
Okay. In the communication piece with the honesty. So I would agree that those are very, they kind of feed off each other. So how honest in terms of the communication, how honest do you want it? You know what I'm saying? Some people, ignorance is bliss. That kind of do you like people say they want honesty, but don't really want it because when it comes when the honesty, the truth hurts.
They can't handle it.
And they can't handle it. So how honest do you want it? Do you want to like give it to me blunt? I don't give a shit. Like give it all to me. And then we have that kind of communication back and forth. Or it's just kind of like, you know what? You know, I want you to protect my feelings. The other end of the spectrum.
So if we're talking back in the day, I would say blunt, point blank, give it to me honest, because then I can make an immediate decision. Right. And now we're not wasting either person's time. Now with my wife, I would say, you know, ease up a little bit. Maybe dial back, a little bit on the brutal honesty, you know, you know, so, but that's because, you know, I mean, look, man, after you've been with somebody, like I've been with my wife for 10 years now, you know, like, you know them very well. I'll tell you, starting out the gate though, one thing about the honesty communication piece that I don't care about is anything that happened before right now. I don't fucking care about. I don't care about how many dudes you've been with. I don't care how many dicks you sucked. I don't care. Whatever it was, as twisted as it may be, whatever it was that got you to right here, I'm okay with the fact that we're right here.
Clean slate.
Exactly. And if we're trying to have a relationship, and be honest with you, I want to be going down on you thinking about like
your body count.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That because that's just one of those here, look, straight up. One, once you know, you can never not know. And two, you can never forget it, right? I mean, it potentially, it could always be in the back of your mind. Now, when I was a single man, I didn't really care, you know? Now that I'm married or whatever, I just don't want to know, you know, because
it's like irrelevant at this point.
It is, you know, in my mind, my wife is an angel. And
she's a virgin when you met her.
No, I ain't gonna say that, but you know, she was, she's here for me. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, that'd be the same thing as me making a joke like, oh yeah, I was a virgin when I met my, no.
It's the assumption's already there. Like dudes are not virgins out the gate. Like,
yeah, no.
You know, I'm gonna say like, maybe I told you this. I don't know, but I remember for me, I remember as a kid, you know, I was painfully shy.
Just to be clear, my wife was 28 when we met. I'm just going to make the assumption.
100%. I mean, oh no. You know, I was saying like, you know, like with my mom. I remember my mom. She told me, she said I was like a senior or whatever, and you know, I wasn't really out there like that. And she's like, hey, you know, are you talking to anybody? And I was like, nah, no. You know, I was like, you know, I'm just trying to get out of school. I'm just trying to go out and do my thing. She's like, well, you need to meet like a girl. And what you need to be doing is getting out there and practicing. I was like, practicing? She's like, yeah, because you need to know how to please a woman. So you need to get out there and you need to practice so that when you do meet the girl that you want, that you know how to satisfy her. And I was like, oh, you know, now this is from my mother. My pops he wasn't talking none of that. He was like, you know, basically just leave it alone. Don't get no girl pregnant, da. My mom's like, you should be out there like practicing because you need to know what you're doing for when the time you do meet the girl that you actually, you know, that you like. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay. Like my mom gave me the straight up green light, and I was like, all right.
So
it didn't change immediately, but you know, I didn't have any issues.
I got quite the opposite growing up. My mom was like, you know, if you save each other for each other, then you can learn how to satisfy each other together, and that's part of the magic. And I'm like, ugh, I hate that it sounds so good. Because that is not the path that I took at all.
Oh man, you know what's so funny? Because
I took I need to learn what satisfies me. That's that's the path that I took.
How do I get right? You know, it's funny because like I would never have that conversation with my kid. But hey, you know, go out there and just smash a bunch of dudes and get, you know, and know so you know how to satisfy. It's like it's crazy because that's not the conversation that anyone gives their daughters. But that's usually like what it is for like the boys, like because you got to know how to hold it down. You know, we need to know how to provide. We need to know how to do these different things and take care of a woman, right? That's how that's what we're taught, and it's a complete opposite type of upbringing. You know, a boy versus a girl. You know, but yeah, no, yeah, go ahead.
That's going to be a whole different conversation.
Oh, for sure.
Both got girls.
Yeah.
And as you're saying it, I'm already thinking like, what would I say to my daughter? You know, like,
shit.
Of course I'm not going to say go out and smash. And that's a whole different conversation. You know what? Let's save that for episode 15.
Yeah. That's a good
episode. That's a whole nother topic.
Okay. So we got two. We got the honesty, which I agree 100%. We got communication. Absolutely. What else is in part of that pie that is essential?
Hygiene.
Ooh, okay. Hygiene. Hygiene. Am 100%. And you know what's so crazy? That to me, in my mind, that shouldn't be a thing, but it is a thing.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a thing, but it's a thing. I mean, and I'll in hygiene, I'll even throw in that whole that portion of the pie, like cleanliness. You know what I'm saying? Just in terms of just upkeep and how they operate. You know what I'm saying? If the house is a shit show, a train wreck, because they don't know how to pick up after themselves, that would drive me insane, and that would have me out the door. You know, so hygiene, I agree 100%. I don't
want to walk into your place and see a fucking litter box that hadn't been cleaned in weeks. You know, with dirty underdrawers all over the place, and you haven't fucking brushed your teeth. Like, I'm all about this, like. You know, and you're from New York, so you might be about it, but you might not be. I'm not sure. That's for you to say. But like, I'm okay with like the comfortable, sexy, comfortable look in public type of thing, right? Like the whole like I'm gonna go out in sweats, but my hair is done. You showered. Underneath your sweats, you're still clean. You brushed your teeth. You know, like the basic like. If you roll out of bed and you go like out in public with crusties in your eyes and bad breath, like, you know,
unacceptable.
I can't do it. That's not how I want to roll. That's not how I roll. You know, I mean, the most I ever do in public, rolling straight out of bed without doing hygiene, with the exception of deodorant, I will always put on deodorant before I leave the house, is if I'm going from out to bed in the morning to the gym, which is my normal flow. I'm not going to get all showered up and prettied up and all that shit to go to the gym. I feel like people do get more dressed up to go to the gym now than they do to go out in normal public.
They're not about that business, though. They're worried about everybody looking and gawking and all that. You know what I mean? Hey, more power to you. For me, I throw on some sweats. I throw on a quick T-shirt. I don't give a shit what it looks like. I'm there to do some work. And the thing about it, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in there, you're going to admire anyway. You know? So that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Now, and on top of that too, like, you know, I think if you maintain a high standard of, you know, if your hygiene standard is already maintained at a high level, you can do that. Some people can't do that though. Because the thing is, if they don't do that shower beforehand, they are stinking up that damn gym. And I'm sitting there like, yo, like, man, this happened not too long ago, actually. This kid, man, I'm over there. I'm on the cable machine. I'm doing shoulders. This kid walks up, you know, just all grown out, whatever. He's probably early 20s or late teens, something like that. And he starts working out, and this smell starts creeping up to my nose. And I'm like, what? I mean, I'm talking strong, this pungent smell. And I'm like, yo, this kid stinks. And the thing about it, so he's working out on the other side. He's one of them big, you know, cable machines, whatever. So he's on the other side. I'm on my side. And now I'm thinking, so this guy, he's doing the rows. And I saw him kind of and flinch, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, I was already here. I was already here. So know that it's that guy over there. And this kid was like Pepe Le Pew. He's stinking up the whole gym, walking around, hitting the dumbbells. And I'm talking, he's tracking it through the entire gym. And I'm like, you've got to know that you're funky right now. Like, you got to know that, you know? And so I agree. Like, hygiene is huge, huge. If a chick does not have good hygiene, how can I even think straight being around you? Let alone, like, you want me to, like, kiss you? You're crazy. I don't even want to be in public with you. I don't want to be around you because now I'm uncomfortable, right? If I start feeling uncomfortable because of that, I can't be around you. And I think I think it's gross.
So it all starts to come full circle too, right? Now I'll tell you fourth thing too in a second. But
okay.
It all starts to come full circle. I mean, like, even this morning with the honesty and communication, right? And hygiene. I'll give you a perfect example of how it bit me in the ass just this morning. Okay. My wife comes up to me. She's getting ready to head out the door. First thing in the morning, she's taking the kids to school. She goes to give me a kiss. I was like, pause. I'm still having my coffee. I have not brushed my teeth yet. She kisses me on the cheek and gives me a hug, and we're good to go. Right? 100%. That honesty led to me not having to accept from her when she says, why does your breath taste like dog shit? Like, why? Why didn't you tell me you didn't brush your teeth yet? You know, like, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
But I don't think I have the worst, like, morning breath in the world, you know, but I would rather leave my wife with a good impression. Let's just put it that way.
Hey, yo, I'm the same boat. The thing is, you know, I think it's mind blowing. Some folks like to wake up and have conversations. The last thing I want to do is wake up and talk anything unless I'm faced away from you, because I know for me, like, it's automatic. When I wake up, if I'm laying in bed, I'm quiet in the bed. Let's be clear, right? And if I'm talking the opposite direction. I'm not facing it towards you because I know in my mind, I'm thinking like, I need to go brush my teeth. I need to get my mouth right. I need to start going through my process of waking up, and brushing my teeth is like, that starts that process of me waking up. You know, and it's like some people they go to the gym, they come home and they just go to bed. I'm like, how can you get in the bed dirty? Like, I'm so confused. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be like, once again, like the place where you should be able to lay in there. It's clean. It's neat. It smells good. But now you got body odor just kind of stacking up, you know? So yeah, hygiene, crazy, gross. All right. Number four. All
right. And I already got number 5 on deck too, but I will say this is in no particular order.
Yeah.
Like, one does not outrank the other. This is just, if I had to pick 5 things that for me make that person incredibly attractive to me, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll even go back to the hygiene. It comes with this shit too. The talking, fucking clean up your fucking language. And I don't mean like, don't curse like I curse.
Yeah.
I just mean like, don't be fucking gross. And you and I've had this discussion before, right? There's certain people in my life. I'm like, hey, this is not working for me. They're like, oh, why don't you talk about these things with your? I'm like, with my wife, because I still want to find my wife attractive tomorrow. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know about your bathroom time and your schedule and, all the different things that go into the feminine hygiene. I don't need to know about that. Yeah. What I want to know is when you come out that bathroom naked, you are squeaky clean from your ears down, and that's it, right? Mm-hmm. You are squeaky clean from your eyebrows down, and hygiene, we're good there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 4, respect. And I mean in all facets of life. If we're out in public, don't ever fucking disrespect me in public. Don't disrespect me in front of my friends. Don't disrespect me in front of my kids. Just don't be disrespectful. If we need to have a disrespectful conversation, let's do it in private when we're having that open and honest communication, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be, full of anger or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it can be, we can have a conversation. I could be pissed at somebody and have a level-headed conversation. Mm-hmm. That is an art form, I think, because most people want to act on emotion. You know me, I act on logic. I talk a lot of shit, but I talk a lot of shit joking about situations that we have been in or that I have been in. But overall, when it comes to having those conversations, behind closed doors, I'm like, fuck that person, fuck this, fuck that, da 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 da. But when I'm talking to them, I'm diplomatic, right? So I want the person that I'm with for the rest of my life, or that I'm with in the moment, whatever, to be respectful. Respect me in public, respect me as a man, because I still believe in that. Respect me as a man. Yeah. Kitty Foreman said it best, and most people laugh. I've said this before. That 70s show, Kitty Foreman, she goes, "I never let Red forget that he is a man." Whew. If you never let the man you're with forget that he's a man, if you're always showing him that he is a man, you're not just being disrespectful just to be fucking disrespectful, or argumentative just to be fucking argumentative. It's one thing if it's part of foreplay and it's just how you roll, because I know how you roll. You've admitted it before. Like, you like a woman who talks back a little bit. But in my mind, I think that might be foreplay for you. For me, I'm good with it to an extent. But okay, number 4 is respect.
But I think with me, it's good. It's part of that communication thing. I like brutal honesty. So if you're gonna, and the thing is, once again, there's a time and place for it, right? There's a respecting to it as well. But if I am screwing up,
well, hold on. But you asked me earlier. Yeah. To what degree? Is there a top out?
No,
there's no top out.
To me, I'm gonna give it to you brutal. Now, not everybody can handle it. Now, granted, I do package it nicely so that it can be digestible for people. Not everybody wants it brutal like me. There are some women that'll cut me, right, verbally and probably literally. You know what I mean? But I prefer it like that, because I don't. The soft tiptoeing around the issue doesn't work for me. And some people aren't, it's not that they're not articulate, but they don't know how to just be straight up with what they have to say. It's like you're spending so much time trying to sugarcoat it. What the fuck do you want? Like, what is it that is missing? Like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? So just tell me. I can handle it. I'm good. You know what I mean? Because I'm very honest with myself.
That's part of dating in your weight class, though, right? I mean, so these top 5 things, each of them are their own class, in my opinion, right? So if you need somebody who can articulate that to you in what could otherwise be known as a diplomatic, conversation, I suppose, however you want to put it, they understand you, right? So they think on that level, and it's like, okay, I understand him. I can be brutally honest without being a fucking dick.
Yeah. But then at the same time, like, I don't really care, because the thing is, I'm not built paper thin. I got thick ass skin. So you can cuss me out. You can say what you got to say. I'm like, I'm going to get to the root. I'm going to understand the message. If you cuss me out, that's fine. But for me, especially having been cussed out, football coaches, basketball coaches, like all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I don't get upset by that. I'm just more so waiting for what is really going on. I'm trying to piece it together. Like, I know people get emotional, but the whole time I'm sitting there kind of like, so what you're saying is this. Okay, got you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's me. I'm not going to get, just because you're upset doesn't mean I'm going to get riled up too. Now, if I don't understand what you're saying, if you're saying a bunch of shit that I'm like, well, that's a bunch of you're just talking a bunch of emotional nonsense, then I'm probably going to get upset. I'm probably going to shut you down. With me younger, I'm going to fire up as well. Here goes me being honest, right? I'm going to start barking back. Me now, I'm going to sit there and be like, I think everything you're saying is kind of bullshit. I disagree with everything, and here's why. And I'm going to shut you down that way. But if what you're saying, it makes sense, and I'm like, you know what? Like, that's valid. That's valid. Okay, understood. And you know what? To see how emotional they are about it, how upset they are about it, this is obviously something I need to take care of, like, relatively soon, or at least start making progress and start working toward that. That's fine with me. That's 100% fine with me. But if I might understand where you're coming from, I'd be like, fuck out of here.
So if somebody's upset with you about something and their argument is rational,
yeah, it's sound,
even though they're expressing it emotionally, you accept that.
100%. I'm not going to tell someone how to get it out. Just get it out. Give it to me. What do you got? But you better come correct. You better fucking come correct. Because the thing about it, I'm going to sit there and I'm processing and I'm understanding and I'm looking for reasons to poke holes in your argument. Like I'm looking for it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to do that, that's fine. But please believe, if there's any type of way I can go in there and be like, gotcha, I'm coming for you. And you better have a way to counter that with more.
And you better have been correct too. Meaning, man, if you bring up some past shit,
man,
or you get at me for something that I've gotten at you about in the past, and now we're being
tit for tat on some bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
That's the worst. That's what I'm like. The gloves are fucking off,
man. And now it's just a matter of, now you've got me 100%, like, we are not on the same page, and someone's going to have to this place is going to burn down.
I'm already thinking about what bottle I'm going to drink tonight.
Man, I'm trying to tell you.
That's where
I'm out of here. I'm going to go.
How am I going to put myself to bed after this?
Yeah. So, okay. So, what's number 5?
Number 5 might be number 1 on the list. I don't know. It's up for debate. Confidence.
Oh,
I don't look at this stage of life. Just like I don't want to hear about any of your, sexual conquests or things you did before me type of thing, because it just doesn't fucking matter. I also would ask that you leave all your bullshit at the fucking door.
Interesting.
Right? Like, so I don't need to date somebody. I don't need to be in a relationship with somebody at almost 40 that has fucking, bags of self-esteem issues. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I need you to, well, so-and-so did me wrong this way, so I need you to, wait. You're asking me to do extra because of something somebody else did to you? I'm a good fucking man. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Look, like my looks might be fading. My body's getting back on point. I'll tell you that right goddamn now. Holy shit.
Talk about it.
I was pushing 90s on the incline press today. The strength is coming back, man. I felt so good this morning. I digress. I don't need to carry the burden of your past bullshit. So I want somebody who's confident. I want you to be confident in the bedroom. I want you to be confident having conversations. I want you to be confident out in public, and when it's time to make a decision, I'm all about making decisions. If whatever I say, like, if you're like, oh yeah, like whatever it is you want or whatever it is, like, that's what we're going to do. Like, okay, cool. I'll make that decision. But if we're having a conversation trying to decide on something, and I don't care what it is, anything in life, I don't need you to be conflicted. I need you to be confident in your approach. Tell me, be open and honest about what it is you want, and let's come up with a conclusion. But it's got to be confident. It can't be wavering.
Oh yeah, because I'm gonna destroy you.
Look, man, if you ask somebody a question, let me be more specific, because this is very specific to women. If you ask a woman a question, she's like, I don't care. Fuck. You know she cares.
Yeah.
You know she cares, and now you got to start dissecting. I don't like that. Let's just be confident. Tell me in an honest,
be straight
communicative, like this is how. Okay, I can work with that. So let's be confident.
Yeah. No, you know it's funny that you say that, because just today I sent. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about someone, and I looked up the 5 reasons. This article is called "The 5 Reasons Men Love Confident Women." I sent it to her, and I was like, you know what? Read this and like just digest that. You know what I'm saying? Just let that roam in your head a little bit. I mean, and think about how you measure up to these 5 reasons that, men love confident women. Because I like that. But I think, like I said, I think that confidence also comes into like what you were talking about before, like with the communication. When she speaks with a confidence. There's an authority to it, right? And you respect that. You respect that, and she's like, okay, like when she talks, it's not just some emotional, all that, and you're not having to kind of massage her, with the comment. Granted, everyone has like their moments where they're like weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be times where it's like, look, you know what? Maybe their confidence in the dumps. You're trying to like build them up or whatever. But like, if that's like your modus operandi, absolutely fucking not. Like, I'm not here to. You're supposed to be, I want a grown ass woman who's been through some things, dealt with some things where, yeah, she has that inner confidence because she has had to deal with life and adversity, and you gain confidence when you overcome shit. So my thing is just like, well, if you don't feel confident, then you have a ways to go in terms of growth. And for me, I'm all about growth. I'm all about getting better, maturing. You know what I'm saying? So if you love that aspect of me, why don't you have that? Why aren't you working on that? You know what I'm saying? So I think that confidence piece is just that 100%. I agree that confidence is definitely something that is it's necessary 100% in a relationship. I agree 100%. So so those are your 5. So I looked up, I was looking online actually earlier.
And just
the 5 essentials.
I'm just, for anyone who's listening, just so you know, like this is not a premeditated conversation. Like this is top 5 things, kind of as Salt brought it up from the very beginning of this episode. I came up with those 5 things during this episode as we were talking, right? So like, not in any particular order, but like I would go ahead and argue that the top 5 things that popped into my head immediately, I was like, these things are important to me, man. Like these are super important. So.
And I don't, and the thing is, it's like, if you've gone through it enough, you've been in relationships enough, you kind of like know what's like what right. it is.
But so I say that though to say this too, because we talked about, like tangibles, like toys and money and stuff like that. Like you'll notice my top 5 things had nothing to do with, oh, she's got to have a ton of money, or she's got to have this kind of car, this kind of possession. It didn't have anything to do with she's got to be a fucking porn star in the sheets either, right? Like it, there's things that are important, and then there's things that are necessary. The 5 things that I just said for me are necessary. Like I need that to happen.
Yeah.
And everything else will come.
I agree. I think money, if you put together a good plan, a good vision for like the 2, all that other stuff, it's just a matter of time. That can all be gained. She could become a porn star because she's going to figure out what is it you want. And if she's not selfish in the bedroom, she's going to give you that, and vice versa. We're here to please each other, not just for one person to do all the please and the other person to sit there and just lay there and take it like a champ, because then that's going to dissolve as well. We'll get to that in a hot second. So in these 5 essentials for a healthy relationship, this is what they said. Communication, that was number 1. I don't think this is in any particular order either. Yeah, communication. They said feeling heard. That was another one. That was number 2. Disagreements. They said that was key. And I think that comes to like being honest. Maybe. Number 4 was a mutual intimacy, and then trust was the last one. And so like if I had to divvy up I would think that all those kind of played on exactly what you said, right?
Yeah, they're either related to or they're subtopics of the categories that we discussed. I mean, feeling hurt, 100%. That's part of communication.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
big time. And that I think comes to like the, you know, I know for me, like that is the honesty piece, right? That's someone paying attention to what I had to say in the first place. So if I'm doing all this talking and you heard nothing I had to say and you keep doing the same dumbass shit and we keep going back to square one, this is not going to last very long. It's not going to last very long because you obviously have other things on your mind as opposed to tending to whatever needs that I have.
Well, you know I'll tell you, I'll dive into that a little bit deeper because it just kind of popped into my brain. I've said this before. When you're having an actual conversation, if you're in the role of listener in a conversation and you're actively listening, you're not thinking about what you're going to say next because that's not having a conversation, especially in an argument type of situation. If you're thinking about like, how can I rebut whatever they're saying right now so that I can be the bigger person and I can win this argument, you're not communicating because you're not listening to what they're saying. You're not digesting anything. You're just fucking being argumentative, and you need to suppress your ego for a minute and have that actual conversation. And look, man, like I'm not fucking perfect at any of this ever. I mean, you know, like my wife gets upset sometimes. I get upset sometimes, and I've told her before, and she's reminded me before. She's like, "I don't think you're listening. You're just trying to be right." I'm like, you know what? I heard that. And you're right. I am just trying to be right. I'm sorry. Let me dial it back. But that goes back to what you're saying, where if someone's, you know, hollering at you for whatever reason, you are digesting what they're saying, trying to figure out the truth. I get less. I'm not wired the same way you are. I think we know that. But I get caught up in the emotion side. Like, hey, let's just have a level-headed let's have a conversation. Let's leave the emotion out of it so that I can understand the intent. Because if you're yelling at me, I just want to yell back and I want to get defensive. And then my ego inflates and then I just want to start barking. And I hate that. So I would rather, let's bring it down here. If we got to walk away for 15, 20 minutes, 3 hours, whatever, I don't care. Whatever you got to do, like, you know, at this point, like, let's calm down and let's have a rational conversation.
You know, it's crazy because, like, I guess maybe this is why I don't really care about all that extra emotion because the way I grew up and the way I know is that just talking loud, some people, right, talking loud means that you're yelling. That is not yelling to me. That to me, I'm just talking and I'm talking very passionately about whatever the hell I got going on. And that's how I'm talking, but it has nothing to say that I'm not yelling. It's just me talking. You know what I'm saying? So if someone is yelling and doing whatever, to me, we're talking. You know what I'm saying? You just use a louder voice and you're using all this extra whatever. You know what I'm saying? To me, I don't get upset by that, you know, but it's like for me, like I have been in situations where, yeah, like my voice might raise, maybe I'm getting excited or whatever, but to be like, you need to like calm down, like you're yelling. I'm like, yo, that pisses me off. That pisses me off because I'm just like, yo, if I was yelling, you'd know I was yelling. You know what I'm saying? If I was getting at you, you'd know. But if this is just me talking, and you're having an issue with me talking, and you're telling me to tone it down, and I want to rip your fucking head off right now. Now you're pissing me off because you're telling me how I'm supposed to articulate and speak to you. Now, granted, having dealing with some people, I know that me talking in a loud voice, for them, it's aggressive. And I'm like, where the fuck are you from? You know what I'm saying? And I have to dial it back or they're going to shut down. Now, I do that for certain folks. I don't do that for everybody. If I don't give two shits about you, you're going to get it the way you're getting it. And I don't give a damn, right? I'm going to come at you the way I'm going to come at you. And you're going to just take it like a champ. And I'm going to leave it right here and let you deal with it and let you sort it out. However, if I'm actually trying to make progress and you know, improve this relationship, I'm going to dial it back. And like, for instance, like even like with my kid, I'm not going to sit there and just yell at my kid. There's times where I get in her face. Yes. But then I'm going to be like, you know what? This isn't going to help anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to yell at her. I don't want to use that. I don't want to have that because whatever I'm trying to emphasize whatnot, I want to make sure that she understands it and it's in the way that is going to be most beneficial for her. So, but like with grown people though, when they tell me that, I do my best to, which is why I try to be calm all the time. You know what I mean? Not all the time, but but like people, like for me, when I'm with you and I talk you're not like, hey, Salt, like you're getting a little too loud. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh shit, he's obviously excited about something. You know what I mean? But other people, they don't get that. They don't, for them, it's, especially maybe because it's out of character. They don't see me in that different way. I don't know, but I that drives me insane where someone is telling me to tone it down when all I'm doing is speaking, but I'm just a little more maybe animated with it, or my voice has been raised. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really, it's just kind of flowing and I'm boom, 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 and then bap, bap, bap. You know what I mean? But that's how I grew up. That's everyone around me was like that, where they, we get loud. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. So all this, to me, I don't really like the nicey shit, but that's
so
that's
me. Let me throw this in there, and because so many situations that you and I have been through together are popping into my brain, and here's what's cool about it. Here's what's cool about it, right? You've been on the receiving end of my bullshit, and I've been on the receiving end of your bullshit. We've been through some situations together that was specific to me, and I called you or you were there, and therefore you didn't have to, but you dealt with it, and then I've been in situations where you called me or I was there and I dealt with it and I did things. But I can vividly remember when I was being emotional and loud, you listened and sorted out the truth the way that you said you do, which is incredible because it's proof in what you just said. And I'm talking about over a 10-year history of you and I, our friendship. But I also have done the same thing to you where you are being elevated. And I have done exactly what I do, which is where I'm like, hey man, like, let's bring it down. Let's calm down. Like, hey, talk to me. Right. Because I can't hear the truth through the exaggeration, if that makes sense. Right. So you find the truth in the exaggeration. I try to calm it down so that I can get to the truth beyond the exaggeration. And so it's kind of cool.
And you know what, what's so crazy though. And then once again, though, I think it comes down to like you talking about the respect thing, right? If I'm talking to you and I'm just live and I'm out of here and you're like, hey, like relax, like chill. You telling me that, I'll be like, fine. You know what I mean? And I'm hyped, but I'm like, you know what? Fine. Now, someone I don't have that type of respect for, that type of rapport with, I'm probably looking at them like, you know what? You can fucking get it too. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not going to stop. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, get away from me because the last thing I want to hear is you right the fuck now. You know what I'm saying? And I think I will unleash holy hell. And
which is why when I ask you to calm down, I say it very confidently because I'm not trying to catch that. There's always a little nervousness in there. I'm like, hey man, hey buddy,
it's like like the Avengers and whatnot. The guy turns Hulk, and she's like, "Hey, big guy." He starts like shriveling up.
Hey, it's okay. You want to get an ice cream cone? Let's get an ice cream cone.
Like fine, I like ice cream. You know. You know what I mean? No, it's so crazy because it is exactly that. Because the thing is, especially when I'm like, and I'm on like that and I'm live, especially if I'm upset, the initial, hey, like, let's just chill, like, relax. It's still going to be like, I'm still raging. Eventually I do chill, but it takes a certain kind of a person. Maybe it's a confidence thing, right? It's a knowing who you are to not absorb that and be upset by it, to weather that storm that I'm going through. And to be like, hey, chill. And even though I'm still like, no, I'm like, bop, 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 bop. It's like, yo, like, I hear you, boom, boom. Like, maybe like, just relax. Like, let's go do this or whatever. And then the logic starts cutting through. Because granted, I'm not a very emotional guy, but when I go there. And I go there in like in a pretty extreme way. So it takes a certain kind of individual to be able to deal with that. And then I'm like, oh, you're right. I had to.
You know what's crazy is and I'm not saying that I use this tactic on you, but I've read we have kids, right? We have kids, and there's so many books out there that talk about like how to communicate with your children and stuff like that. And this is just an idea that kind of popped up here sporadically, but there's God, I wish I could remember the author, but she's like, when you're talking to your children and they're irrational and they're upset. They said that and I use this on my kids. I use it on my kids constantly because this is my way of communicating, but they're irrational, they're upset, they're crying, they're boo-hooing, they're yelling, screaming, pitching a fit, whatever they're doing. Try starting out with, I hear you, but now I want to understand you. And try to get them using those words like you said earlier in your top 5, being heard. If you don't respond with like a no, you're gonna knock it off now or else, that just never works with anybody, right? But if you're like, hey, I hear you, but now I want to understand you. Even with my 4-year-old, she'll okay, Daddy, I'm upset about this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, good. So the tantrum is over, right? Now we can figure out what's actually bothering you and we can work on that. And I'm certainly not fucking perfect at it, but I have noticed a huge difference in taking an approach like that with my kids, with other individuals in general, it's maybe too intimate of a thing to state, but even with my wife, it's like, hey, look, I hear you. And I take a different tone, right? It's like, oh, I hear you. You want some ice cream? It's like, look, I hear you. I hear you. Everybody hears you. We all hear you. Yeah. I want to understand you now. What is the point?
That's, what's crazy. Cause it's just that my kid made me more patient with adults, with other people. Like for me, kind of a fiery guy, but I had to dial it back to talk to her, to communicate with her. Because with her, what I do is, especially when she was younger, not so much now. She's kind of a little more. She's grown. She's older now. But when she gets worked up and she's, I'm like, hey, all right, breathe. I need you to breathe. I'm looking her dead in her eye. Hey, I need you to breathe. Breathe with me. Breathe. Calm down. Relax. Now, I need you to talk to me. What's up? What's going on? Talk to me. What's happening? Well, and as soon as she starts okay, and now she's talking about, okay, so this is what's going on, boom, boom, boom. And I'm starting, once again, for me, all that emotion, that's fine, whatever. I need you to talk to me though. Get it out. What's happening? So for me though, taking that to detach, relax, and kind of look and just be like, okay, what's happening? My kid taught me that, because before I'm talking firecracker. I see that, I'm reacting. Let's go in. Bah, 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 bah. But my kid made me more calm, where I was like, okay, you know what? I don't have to feed into that, because I would love to. And with her mother, I did on a regular. But me now, that's what I was saying. For me, all that emotion stuff, I don't mind on that. Give it to me. That's fine. But I don't feed into that. Just because you're emotional doesn't mean I have to match you on that level. I'm going to be chill, because I don't really get myself upset. I'm not going to get myself upset because you're upset. I don't understand why. So why would I get upset? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now you start wielding a knife in my face, I might have to just cold cock you, put you down, and be like, let's talk about what happened.
Yeah, we'll talk about this in the morning. We're all products. We're all products of how we were raised, and I say that because I see it in myself all the time. People are like, "Oh my God, I'm becoming my father. I'm becoming my mother. Whatever." You're not becoming that. You're just living what you knew, and I mean in your most formative of years. So in your most formative of years, if what you were used to, like in Alabama, where if I talk back, I got the paddle or the belt or the switch or the hand or whatever else could be grabbed, because that was instilling respect the way I was grown or the way I was raised. I don't necessarily agree with that now. I've never used a paddle and a switch or a belt or anything like that on my girls, but instinctually, if you think it's not the first thing that goes through my brain, it is. And I'm like, God, I don't want that. I'll give you a great example. Right? So and this is not airing out dirty laundry or anything like that, but my niece and my nephew are coming up. You know, they're in a great situation now, but they weren't always in a good situation. But the situation they're in now is still similar to the situation that I was raised in back in Alabama, and they're back in Alabama type of thing. So either way, my point is, so my nephew, I want to say he was probably 6 at the time, and he's upset, right? I'm back in Alabama, I'm visiting. He comes up to me, he's like, you know, Uncle Joseph, my family calls me Joseph. He's like, Uncle Joseph, I'm so mad. And his fists are clenched, and he's just mean facing, and he's stomping, and I'm so mad. All he can say is I'm so mad, because he doesn't know how to express anything else. And my cousin, Nashville cousin, is sitting next to me. Some man I very deeply respect is sitting next to me, and he's looking at me like wondering how I'm going to handle this situation, right? Because what got him mad was he just wasn't sharing his toys or whatever, you know, like I think one of my daughters hopped on his little motorized tractor and wasn't shared. She was excited because she's never seen anything like that. And she got to enjoy it for a minute. I was like, hey, listen. I'm like, hey, Bubba, tell me what's wrong. I'm just so mad. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. I want to understand you, right? Like, so tell me what the problem is. She's not sharing my tractor. I'm just saying, he keeps going back to this. I'm like, and so I just, for whatever reason, instinctually for me, I was like, I'm going to offer him something he's probably never been offered in this situation. Right or wrong. I could be wrong. My mom listens to this. She might kill me. I don't know. But I said, hey, Bubba, I said, do you need a hug? Can I give you a hug? And he just started crying. Oh, Lord, it's going to make me tear up right now. He just started crying. And I was like, come here. He held me. And I probably held him for, no exaggeration, 15 minutes while he cried on my shoulder. 6 years old. He just had so much pent up aggression from the shit he had to go through in his first 3 to 4 years of life, where he was never met with affection and empathy. He was met with physical and verbal abuse, really. And that's nothing on my sister. That's nothing on my parents. That's all his dad. And I'm like, hey, Bubba, can I give you a hug and let's talk about it? And we did. And he was fine after that. I'm not saying it solved everything. It certainly didn't, right? You know, but we're all products of how we were raised, man. Even when we're these little people out here, we got to learn how to listen to them. You know, if we want them to epitomize the 5 things we discussed tonight, or the 5 things that you brought up that are important in a relationship, if we want them to actually, you know, function that way later in life, we got to train them now. You know, we can't just take these harsh approaches to these little people and think like, well, I turned out okay and I got my ass whooped growing up. That doesn't work for everybody. You got to teach them the other side too. You got to teach them the emotion and the empathy and the understanding and love, you know, I mean, so sorry.
No, I agree with you 100%. You know, for me, yeah, I definitely got worn out. Like my parents used to blast the hell out of me as a kid. And the thing is, I have passed it on to my kid. However, it wasn't to the point where it was for me as a kid. My kid was like, I mean, she's pretty awesome. So I really didn't have to like do too much. You know what I'm saying? Just minor maintenance.
Your kid's incredible. She
However,
really is.
A lot of it though, yeah, she's cool.
You
mean?
you still got the receipt, or did you finally throw it away?
Yeah, I tossed it.
All right, so she's here to stay.
I'm not gonna turn her back in. Yeah. She'll be here. Yeah, I put insurance on her and everything. You know what I mean? No, but like with her, a big thing was like, you know what? I know with her, it was okay. Like, yeah, I need you to hear me when I'm talking. Period. Dot. We got that. Once we had that kind of wrapped up, it was more so like now I wanted to talk to her, to learn her, and to learn about her, because she's a person. She's her own person. She's nothing like anything else on this planet. She's her own individual person. So like with me, when it came to, even when she was little, I would just let her talk, and she'd run her mouth like nonstop. But I wanted to hear, like, so what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Da, da, da. I wanted to communicate. I want her to talk to me, And if I don't, for me, I think in the beginning, I never wanted to raise her by fear. It's not my style. You know what I'm saying? The respect thing, let's get that clear. You know what I'm saying? When daddy speaks, you need to be listening. Case closed. There's no, if I had to say twice, 3 times, now you're going down a path you don't want to go. You know what I mean? The threat is real. So once you understood that the threat was real, then I was like, okay, fine. But then from there, it's just like, okay, hey, listen, what's going on? Talk to me now. Like now, like even like me now, like there's things she'll screw up, but it ain't about spankings anymore. Like we're done with that. It's more like guiding, like, okay, listen, why is that screwed up? Why did you not get the desired result? Let's talk about it. Let's work that out. Because I want her to think. I want her to be able to solve her own problems and to think her way out of a wet paper bag, which I feel like a lot of these kids cannot do. So no, I think it's huge. And the thing is, like for me, I was raised that way as well. Like, but there was less chit chat. It was just more so execute. Like you got busted, handle it. Like you already know, handle it. You know what I'm saying? So like I do the same with her, but there's more conversation than there was with me, I feel. Which, like my grandfather didn't say shit to my pops, like at all. So my dad did better with us. And I feel like I've gotten even better with that, with mine. You know what I'm saying? So
we're in a totally different world though, man. I mean, like, my parents and your parents, they were very much, they were coming out of the generation where, and what's weird is we're talking about 2 generations removed from mom raised the kids. Mom raised the kids, right? I mean, our grandfathers were the workhorses. They did the work. They earned the money. They put the bread on the table. They were up and out the house before we got up in the morning. They came home in time for dinner, but dinner was served. It was ready for them when they got there. Maybe they hugged us and kissed us goodnight. Maybe they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, my quality time with my old man came on like the weekends, because my old man was pretty supportive, right? He was supportive, but he was quiet. So, it was like, oh, Dad, I really think I want to kind of get into this motocross thing. He was like, all right. He goes, well, you need a job so you can afford a dirt bike. You want to get into motocross, right? But he supported me in different ways. So he hired me at his shop. I worked. I saved up some money. Against my mother's will, we went and bought this dirt bike. And I got pretty good. I got really good. I grew up on a farm. I had access to tractors and front end loaders, and all this kind of stuff. So I was able to, take about an acre. I took an acre of land and I built my own motocross track, with his help. We built a motocross track, and I'm talking about doubles, tabletops, whoop sections, big ass berms, long straightaways. Like it was bitching, this is how I grew up in Alabama. I learned a lot of skills from him, and that was his way. Him spending quality time with me was his way of saying, I love you. Right. So he wasn't very vocal about it. Of course, now he's just a fucking giant softy. He's got all these, he's got 4 grandkids and 3 of them are girls. 3 of them are girls, and he is just the biggest softy ever now. Like them girls come around and he's just hugs and kisses and I love you. And I'm like, I just want to be, you make me sick.
I think that's what them girls, they do to you. You know what I mean? Like for sure. Like if I had a boy, I probably would be more of who I normally would be. My kid made me different. You know what I'm saying? Like she just made me different. I have to, like for me, I'm not an affection type. I don't talk with folks like that. I don't express that. But my daughter, hey, love you. Can't wait to see you. Like whole different me, dealing with her. And, she is always like, she's very affectionate. So she's always like hugging on me and I love you, Dad, and all that stuff. I'm like, oh man, like, it makes me feel good. You know what I mean? But I don't, it's not me though. That's not I do that for her. And that's me getting out of myself though too, right? Because it is important.
Because we know what happens to those girls whose dads don't do that.
Man, that's what women have told me over the years. That, like, you're doing a good job. Keep doing it. I'm like, all right. Well, if I got that kind of a blessing, then all right.
I tell you what, I give on the hygiene piece. I give my girls a pardon. Right? They come up to me in the morning, Dad.
Oh man. Yeah. Morning.
Like, I love you too. Go brush your teeth.
Yeah, mine. She'll get up in my face and start talking like, yo, that dragon is kicking like Bruce Lee. I'm gonna need you to go in there and correct that por favor, like right now. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk to me until you come correct.
Daddy loves you, but he does not love your breath. Like, yeah.
Yo, you are really fogging up the room. So yeah, I'd be blasting it. So okay, in your top 5, or you don't have to use the whole top 5, whatever. How would you rank those essentials? How would you rank them if you had 100? You had a pie chart. If you had to divvy it up, what would you give? How would you allocate?
Ooh, that's tough. I honestly, I don't know, man. Because as I'm thinking about them, I think they're all equally important, man. I can't say like, oh, you can be a slob but respectful. You know what I mean? Like, ew. But
okay, like I guess like what would
if I had to
because I mean nothing's perfect,
I had to
right?
pick a number one, I
like if pie chart wise, what percentage are you giving everything?
I mean, pie chart, we're talking about 5s, and I'm pretty good at math. Everything's 20%, but okay. If I had to rack and stack, respect is very important to me. I want to be respected, right? I mean, I work. This is just me talking about me, and people can say whatever they want. I work too hard to feel like I'm disrespected at home, right? Open communication is definitely important, right? I mean, respect me, but communicate with me. Right after that would have to be, I guess, honesty, and I say that because I don't need honesty to be every fucking detail of everything, right? Like, look, I'll go there. I'll go there. If I'm, kids are in bed, I'm feeling some kind of way, like, hey girl, mama, how you feeling tonight? Right? What's up? Right?
What's up?
Should we open a bottle of wine? Should we get a little weird? Or she's like, maybe not tonight. I know what that means already. Cool. Okay. Whatever it may be, say all the cliches you want. Oh, I have a headache, or, oh, my stomach, or what. Look, I don't need to know the details at this point. My wife knows that. Like, hey, be honest with me though, and communicate like, hey, not tonight. Let's rain check tomorrow, whatever. Okay. So respect, communication, honesty. I'm forgetting one of them. I know I said hygiene. What else did I say? Yeah, there was another. Clearly, that's the last one. That's the last one because we can't remember. Yeah, exactly. So, hygiene number 4. I'm big on hygiene, but I also know that like I said, we with as busy as we are and with kids and stuff like that, it's not always. Confidence.
Confidence. Yes.
So, I you know what? Honestly, I can say confidence would be number 5. Yeah,
number 5. Yeah. I know if I was to divvy it up, I'm just assuming if I'm in the relationship that hygiene is up to par. Okay. Let's just say, right? There's, you know what I'm saying? Hygiene's up to par. Cleanliness should be up to par. Confidence can be worked on. So whatever. So if I divvy it up, in my experience thus far in life, the big chunk of the pie goes to communication. So I would give that, like I said, like a big chunk of the pie. I would say my top 3 would be communication, sex, finance. You know what I mean? And finance being the smaller of them, because once again, that can be, it's don't be, if she's out blowing all of our dough on some stupid shit. Like if I was out gambling, she'd have a problem.
Finance, how? So like financial independence, or just
finances in terms of no, I'm just talking about how we spend as like a couple, right? Like, she can have her pot, her chap, I got my pot of gold, that's fine. But if we're doing something together and you don't have any discipline in how you spend, and we're saving for something, we're saving for like a house or for a trip or whatever, and you're constantly like, oh, well, I had to go get that new bag, or I had to go do this. It's like, yo, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? In terms of priority wise, you want to go do your BS, right? You got your toys, whatever, you want to do whatever. Got to get that new iPhone, whatever the hell you got going on. But now it's not contributing to the whole, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Issue. You know what I mean? So now, granted, I put that in there. I think that's maybe the same as even like sex. I put those like in the same part of the pie in terms of percentage wise. But I think that once again, if I'm having an issue, that communication thing, if you're hearing me and we're talking, that can be resolved. You know what I'm saying? Sex wise, if we're slacking in the bedroom or whatever, or I'm not feeling like, my needs are being met, like I think it all revolves around like that communication thing is like number one for me. Because I've seen, for me, and even just in outside of a relationship, any of my relationships, if I can't talk, if I can't communicate with that person, that relationship is going to suffer, and it will eventually
and part of
dissolve.
That communication thing, and this is the whole being heard part that you said. So it's all important, man. It's all important. I mean, it really is. Yeah. Certain things may be more important to other folks than us, or you and I may differ.
Yes,
but 100%. But then
it's like that's why I say like communication is so huge, because it's like, how are you supposed to get to that?
Well,
how are you supposed to even know what it is?
It's also individual specific, right? So like sex is very important to me, physical intimacy. But that goes back to you mentioned one of the things was mutual intimacy. You said mutual intimacy. Yeah. We've talked about this before, and not to highlight other conversations that we've had necessarily, but mutual intimacy, I think, comes down to love languages, right? So, and I can only speak to what I know, right? In my relationship with my wife, my wife's love language is quality time. So I know that if I'm not making time to spend with her, whatever it is she needs, because she does our finances, right? It's something she enjoys. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm just like, I know I make money. I know how much outflow I have. I know I can afford to do this. I can afford to do that. But she's probably the one who's like, yeah, but we're trying to save up for this. We're trying to save up for that, whatever it is. I'm like, all right, okay. So I'll dial this back, whatever it is, or I'll dial that back, any of my personal, little enjoyments, whatever they may be, because I'm a very social person. And I'm also the guy that I like to go out to the bar and I like to buy drinks because I want everyone to just have a good time. We just went out and celebrated her mom's 60th birthday. And it was a battle between me and my father-in-law as to who was going to get the bill. Right. And somehow he had just showed up, and I went up to our server and I was like, hey, here's my card. She goes, oh, I already have one. I was like, no. Give me his card. I put it in my pocket. I gave him my card. I was like, no, tonight's on me. And we're talking about, this was a nice restaurant in Las Vegas, and there was about 30 people there. You were there, right? And I was like, no, tonight's on me. And this motherfucker, he found out that I fucking pocketed his card, and he came up to me, and he just stuffed a wad of hundreds in my pocket. And he was like, no. so for me, I just want everybody to have a good time, though, right? Like everybody came from everybody, with the exception of maybe 2 people, 3 people, including you. Everyone came from out of town. Only. I'm sorry. With the exception of 2 people, because you came from out of town. everybody, with the exception of 4, me and my wife, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, we're the only 4 locals in Vegas, with the exception of 2 other locals. Everyone else in that 30 party of people came from out of town, right? So I'm like, look, they went out of their way to be here. I want everyone to have a good time. I'm gonna cover dinner, you know? And my wife looked at me and she's like, that's gonna be hefty. I'm like, I don't care. She said, you know, but we're saving for this, we're doing that. Don't care. It's your mom's birthday. Look, it's not like we don't have the money. I'm covering it so we can all have a good time, you know? And that didn't make the weekend, but I know that, like, for the next day, what we got into, it allowed people to spend a little more freely, let's just say. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about it. That was very interesting. Now, granted, okay, so day 2 of the 60th birthday bash, you know what I'm saying? We went to Senior Frogs, which I'd never been to. And you know, it made sense to how it was like one of the sister companies to Papa's and Beer. I was like, oh, okay, like the whole setup and all that, it made sense at that, because I didn't know anything about it to look it up. But yeah, that drag show was wild. Now, granted, like I've been to a drag show before, right? It wasn't it wasn't that level of production though. That was like next level. You know what I mean? But what made it was the MC. The host. Man, the perfect host. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just up there killing it, roasting folks left and right. I was so glad we were in the back and I was not in the front to be part of that. That it was just like he was just lining up, just line up and just knock. I was like, "Yo, that dude."
I was wishing you and I were in the front, and then this is how he and I just how Salt and I different. Like I would like it, just because the entertainment value of you and I being in the I mean, when they came back to our section, it was obvious. They were like. They were like, these 2 guys right here.
I'm so glad that we
were protected.
Because I mean, granted, like getting roasted, I don't care about all that, but it's just all that attention. Lord have mercy. You know what I'm saying? Because there's the one dude that he kept going back to, just kept calling that dude back over, and I was like, that would have been my life for the entire 2-hour show. Of this guy just going in, talk about whatever, you know. I was like, or her, you know what I mean? Like just, but it was great. It was great. Like, you know, the only thing, you know what I would say
it was a drag show. So I think you can call him a him because it was a drag show, right?
I don't know. I'm not really sure because I don't know. I'm not sure how that works.
I'll say this. I'll say this for anybody who's been hanging on for an hour and 30 plus now. We got to see like the original, like, drag queen from RuPaul. And that was Big Chocolate or Sexy Chocolate or whatever.
Yeah.
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, 60 years old.
It was
in the game.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that was such a high energy show. It was. I would say that the biggest disappointment to that whole deal was the food. I went up there one time. There were so many folks. I was like, I'm not running this gauntlet again with a plate or 2 of food. I would say that was the only disappointment. I expected something, I guess, different, but I wanted to go back up and get more food. Did not. Ended up just basically filling my stomach with mimosas and the shots that kept coming, you know, over. And I was like, oh,
so let me throw a shout out though to them real quick, like a more because we're gonna make a short out of this. Okay, all right. Senior Frogs at Treasure Island, the drag brunch is what it's called, is an outstanding event. I mean, from look, the food is what you might expect, but you know what? The food comes with it. But you sit down at your table, and every table's got 3 bottles of champagne, uncorked, ready to go. And unlike any nightclub I've ever been to, where it's an open bar or some event like that, whatever, where they're like stingy about it, There was no stinginess here. Like that, you had a dedicated waitress or bottle girl or bottle boy, whatever it was, that was coming around. And I'm not lying. Every 5 minutes, going, "You guys want shots? What do you want? Green tea shots, tequila, whatever you want. Bottom shelf, top shelf. It didn't matter. Everything was included, and it wasn't less than $100 a person. You got food, you got open bar, fresh bottles of champagne popped for you, and they'd bring more if you ran out. An incredible show. It is honestly of all the shows, of all the things I've done in Vegas thus far, nightclubs included. I would go do that again, hands down. Number one, that was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. That was yeah. I mean, I think that'd be like a great, because we went during the daytime. That'd be like a good pregame too. Like just to start there and then just keep rolling from there and just go do whatever on the strip. That would be like a really good pregame. Just because, yeah, you get the VIP, less than $100, drink to your heart's content, eat to your heart's content, and then just mob after that. Just keep rolling. You know. So yeah, I thought it was a good deal. It was a really good deal. So yeah,
bring a spare liver, man. You're gonna need it.
Man, yeah, that mess had me. I'm talking that host, man, had me crying. I was like, yo,
that was so
he's
good.
on it. He's on it. So, all right, man. Yeah, good deal. Good deal. That was a good chat. Good chat. Because it doesn't change. Yeah, like I said, like those essentials, they're key to keeping things going, to keep it healthy. You know what I mean? For sure, to keep the relationship healthy. And I think a lot of folks, if you haven't thought about it, you should definitely think about it. The essentials, especially what they mean to you. Because I think eventually it all comes, I think everybody's top 5 becomes the same over time. I don't think that it strays too far from that, what you just listed. You know what I mean? And what they had on there, I think everyone, for the most part, if you've been in a relationship long enough, you know what's necessary to have a healthy relationship. You know what I'm saying? And all the other stuff, like, if it's open relationship, whatever, that all stems from those essential 5. It's all the same because it's communication. It's all that. Like, how do you want to do this? What are you comfortable with? All that other good stuff. It all, like I said, that's the foundation, those 5. So if you haven't thought about it, think about it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it, just let it kind of resonate in your mind for a little while and just kind of see, okay, well, how are we lacking? If you're in a committed relationship, you're with someone and you're wondering, like, what maybe if things aren't working, just think about that, think about what the essentials are and how your relationship measures up.
Let me add a 6 kind of here at the last minute. A sense of humor. It just hit me, man, with everything we just talked about, like the way that we operate in life, the way that we are, and this is personal to me. A sense of humor is key. It really is. I'm a sarcastic person. I mean, my wife and I, we just interviewed a new nanny yesterday. And my wife's all like, we need that, and we need this, and we need that, and I'm like sitting back and I'm like, just so you know, I come home at 5 p.m. and I expect dinner to be on the table, and I like a whiskey neat or an old-fashioned pre-prohibition style made. I want it centered on the bar, 1 ice cube when I get home. Like, and she's looking at me like I'm crazy, and Blair looks at me. She's like, looks back at her. She's like, he's very sarcastic. I'm like, there's no sarcasm. That is all truth. I'm so serious
right now.
With the exception of I come home at 5. I don't know when I'm going to be home. Maybe I'm already here. But even if I'm already here, dinner on the table. I want that whiskey neat. Like,
yeah. And don't let it get empty either.
You know what's crazy though? She was leaving. She's like, okay, yeah, that's easy. Done. I was like,
what do I got to do to get this job?
I told Blair, I was like, hire her. Man.
Man, you got to have a sense of humor, man. You got to have fun with it, and that's kind of like me too. Like I don't take myself too serious. I don't take life too serious. I think you got to have a sense of humor. There's a time and place for all that serious shit, man. Life's too short. Have a good time with it. Especially like someone that they're going to come there interviewing. They're probably already like, being super proper on pins and needles, like trying to, show their best self, you know what I'm saying? And then you come in with jokes. Now it's like, oh, okay, these folks are he's kind of cool, you know, like now I actually want to be here. Like, let's talk, you know? So yeah, you want a whiskey? Sure. I could do that. And I actually make a killer, whatever. What's the one with the egg yolk?
Oh, yeah.
Whiskey sour. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, you know? It's like, oh, well, so now we're talking. Now we're having a whole different conversation. Hey, you're already hired. Don't worry about that. So what else?
You know what I found out? You know what I found out today? She got offered another job, making more money in her profession that she went to college for. This girl's 23.
Mm-hmm.
She turned that job down to come work for us.
Boom. Yep. I mean, yeah, that's it, man. You can win them over with humor, man. Just be a person. Be normal. You know, don't overthink it. Shit. So, yeah, man, I think that's great. I think it's a great way to kind of end it. That's how we like to do. We like to have a good time. Yeah, serious stuff, but then, whatever.
Absolutely.
It's done. Let's go back to this, having a good time again, you know? So, all right, man.
That's a good one.
That's 14 in the books. Man, we're on a
we are, baby.
roll. We're on a roll.
Ellen, we will see you next week.
Yes, Lord. All right.
All right, man.
Well, man, come by. Until next time, take it easy. All right, Cruxman, we're gone, baby. Peace.